40 of the fittest athletes in the world have descended upon Round Rock, Texas to face 7 unique challenges over the next 3 days. This is the 2021 Rogue Invitational. Dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same. Dell Diamond is now a ballpark in name only. For the next 3 days, it will be home of the 40 fittest men and women on earth as they compete here at the Rogue Invitational. Event 1 for the individuals is up next, and it will be one of the longer tests that we face this entire weekend. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Chase Ingram. There's a hill that they built out in center field, and that's going to come into play here in event number 1.
True Rogue fashion. You have 3 implements that we've really never seen before. They built a hill in the middle of a baseball stadium. You have logs on the Zeus rigs, and now we have a modified dog sled that is now a wheelbarrow. This is the most Rogue event we could have possibly started with.
Event number 1 is Goruck, presented by Goruck. Goruck believes our way of life in America depends on those who serve. And the more we support them, the stronger our foundation as a country will be. That's why Goruck donates 1% of annual top-line revenue to various nonprofit partners who support veterans and first responders. And the crux of this event, right in the middle.
You can see it in the background, the Zeus rig, one of the most classic implements we've ever had in competition, and they have it here in Round Rock, Texas, in the middle of a baseball field. But what they have in store is something very unique. You have a wheelbarrow pull to that rig, 10 over-unders over the logs. We've never seen that before. 5 rope climbs, and then in the back, looming on the right side of your screen, you can see that hill that Rogue made in just a couple of days, and then you work your way back, all wearing a 30-pound ruck pack.
Kiki Dixon is the 3rd member of our broadcast team as she is down on the competition field.
Guys, who builds a hill in the middle of a baseball field? Rogue. Now getting up this thing with the Goruck pack and a sandbag is only half the battle. Getting down with a little bit of grace is the other half. Thanks.
Thank you, Kiki. And that hill is deceptively steep as you take a look at the 2015 CrossFit Games champion, Ben Smith.
Well, it's crazy here. This is really the first time we've seen Ben in live competition since 2019, being nearly 2 years removed of the games.
Chandler Smith, another athlete in this opening heat. He has finished in the top 5 both times he's been here at the Rogue Invitational.
You got a ruck, you got some odd object implements, a lot of grunt work out there. That, to me, screams Chandler Smith.
Seconds.
10 seconds before the start here. 41 total reps in this event. Keep an eye on the left of your screen for the updated scores for each athlete as they progress through event number 1, Goruck.
I'm going to count you down, athletes. 3, 2, 1, go!
And we are underway. They first have to pull that wheelbarrow to the Zeus rig loaded with 275 pounds. There are 41 total scored repetitions in this event. And in lane number 5, it's Andre Uday who is in the lead, and he will be the first man to the log.
And a lot of this is just things outside of things that are normally tested at, say, obviously in your affiliate. But even with these ruck packs, what I thought was really cool in the athlete briefing yesterday is that Goruck talked about how they redesigned this pack after the 2019 games. So I should say the carnage of the 2019 ruck, and they redesigned it. They listened to the athletes, and now this is actually a brand new pack that none of these athletes have used before.
There was a lot of friction on the lower back for some of those athletes, a lot of raw spots, and Goruck took that feedback and has made that pack much more manageable. Still 30 pounds on this. Now, this is where we're going to see how it really affects the athletes, as Andre Uday and Sam Quant, Heinrich Happelainen as well, onto the rope climbs. Happelainen is in the red shirt, and that is Andre Uday.
Now, if you're not used to the ruck pack, a lot of times you'll see weighted rope climbs with a vest. That means an evenly distributed weight between the front and the back. The unique challenge that these packs offer is that usually in a rope climb, you lean really far back to tuck your knees and get a big pull. You can't exactly do that, and you definitely can't do it comfortably with a 30-pound pack on your back. So it actually changes the way you climb the rope as well as add the weight to it.
5 total rope climbs here. After this, it is on to Mater Hill that was constructed here, named after the crew chief of the Rogue equipment team and his daughter, Katie Mater Henniger. And your leaders are right in the middle of the field. In lane 6 is Heinrich Happelainen, and in lane 5, it's Andre Uday, 2 talented Europeans who made their first ever appearances at the CrossFit Games and their first ever appearance here at the Rogue Invitational. As Will Morad works his way down, he has 2 rope climbs remaining of his 5.
This is the event. These rope climbs, because they're going to come back to it. So this is your first 5. We saw the time caps 30 minutes, and we had the question of how, where are athletes really going to get slowed down to warrant a time cap like that? And it's going to come down to these rope climbs. Now we have the hill. An athlete's got an opportunity to play with this, but not with the sandbags themselves. And we had a pleasure of walking up that. And it's not the uphill that's the most challenging part, but it's deceptively steep when you turn around and come back down.
Heinrich Happelainen will be the first man to Mater Hill, and he has 3 sandbags he has to carry up that incline. And again, it is deceptively steep. You got to go up and down it a little bit yesterday, and it was not easy.
It wasn't easy, and I was just, I didn't have a ruck on. I wasn't carrying a sandbag. I wasn't fatigued going into it. And it's very steep. You see Chandler Smith is in tow behind Happelainen, but this is where you not necessarily run away with the event, but where you could lose a lot of time. There's a lot of time and steepness to feel sorry for yourself in the middle of this, right? This is nearly the halfway point of this event, because once they go back, they're going to have to walk their way back to the rope climbs, over-unders, and then back to the wheelbarrow.
Chandler Smith is on the left of your screen. He currently sits in second place. Happelainen is ready to deposit his second of 3 sandbags. Sam Quant is on to Mater Hill. He's in the white shirt. And Jason Hopper is also on top of the hill. He's working his way down in the black shirt. Andre Uday, who was battling with Happelainen for the lead, fell way back in this heat as he was not very fast on the rope, and that cost him.
And we're going to see after this first heat plays out, athletes are going to look at where is the most time dedicated to this specific event, and it is on the rope climbs. The wheelbarrow took maybe 10 seconds, the over-unders another 20, but you're looking at over a minute, close to 2 on just the rope climbs themselves, and you have to do that twice.
Chandler Smith coming down to grab his last bag. He currently sits in second place in this heat with Heinrich Happelainen, the man in the red shirt who is on the right side of your screen, in the lead. Opening heat here, first of 2 for the men. Event number 1 of the Rogue Invitational.
And Happelainen's already done and making his way to the rope. And we see a lot of different strategies, some holding the sandbag, some just resting on your shoulder like Happelainen did. And what that allows you to do is that if you can let your arms relax, you're going to need them a lot more than, say, a traditional rope climb because of the weight. Usually when you think about adding your legs to a rope climb, it's really a leg climb more than anything else, especially versus a legless, obviously. But with that pack, since it's so top heavy, is that you do need to save your arms somewhat going into the rope climbs.
Chandler Smith and Jason Hopper are both done. Smith is in the white top. Jason Hopper making his first appearance at the Rogue Invitational right behind him. Your top 3, Happelainen, Chandler Smith, and Jason Hopper, as Heinrich Happelainen has already knocked out 1 of his last 5 ascents up that rope.
Happelainen working on his second rep. You know, what they said is all he needs to do is hit above the rope somewhere on the shackle or the beam. It's up to them. But we talked about the difference that this ruck make, and it's not just where the weight is placed, but how they start the ascents. As you see, he's taking a big break after that second climb. But what also takes away from it was what you'll see with a no pack is you'll try to shorten the distance you need to climb, and that's usually with a big jump. Look at Hämäläinen. All he's able to do is just to lift his feet off of the mat. So this is a drastically different climb than a lot of these are used to if they don't use this element.
6 men are on their second and final set of rope climbs. Uldis Upniks is on the left side of your screen, chalking up his hands. He's in that group. Chandler Smith, Jason Hopper, Heinrich Hämäläinen, Will Morad, and Sam Quant.
See that dead stop climb from Chandler Smith. Now what Chandler has to an advantage is like he's just so strong. He's an athlete, you know, he's an ex-wrestler. Those athletes can handle constant movement under massive fatigue and stress, and that's why I thought this event in particular, where it's just a grinded out type event, it's not high skill, it's not heavy weight, that plays into at least Chandler's background from wrestling.
And Chandler Smith is trying to challenge Heinrich Hämäläinen for the lead in this heat. Chandler Smith with 2 rope climbs remaining, and he is looking to knock that number down to 1 halfway up now on his 4th climb.
If you look about 2/3 way down the rope, you see a black line where Chandler Smith has to have his hands controlled at. Because of the packs, they're not allowing these athletes to drop just from the top. Yes, there's a crash pad for safety, but with the added weight, they felt like it was more appropriate to make sure the athletes showed a little bit of control before they just descended off the rope.
Heinrich Hämäläinen has fallen off the lead pace, and it looks like Chandler Smith has overtaken him. 1 final rope climb to go. Jason Hopper also with 1 rope climb to go. Hopper was the 3rd man to his 2nd set of 5 rope climbs, and now he sits in a tie for the lead with Chandler Smith, and Hopper is going to be the first man to try and make his final ascent. And here goes Chandler Smith.
And what you see a lot is just a lot of nothing, a lot of athletes just sitting there. And what it is that your lungs are on fire, your arms are completely smoked. It's very rare to feel like your arms are going to failure on a rope climb where you get to use your legs on.
Jason Hopper is now in the lead. He is 1 rep ahead of Chandler Smith as they have 10 up and overs on that log. Jason Hopper has overtaken both Hämäläinen and Smith for the lead in this first of 2 heats.
And the small advantage Hopper has is that he's watching Chandler's movement, where Hopper is behind Chandler. Sure, he can see him out of his peripheral vision, but Hopper gets to see the pace at which Chandler has, and he's actually gained a rep on Chandler Smith, so Hopper is moving much faster than Chandler.
And Hopper will be done first back to the wheelbarrow. Now he has to push it to the finish line. And it looks like Jason Hopper is going to take the win here in heat number 1, as Chandler Smith is now just picking up his wheelbarrow. Hopper is done, and he will take the opening heat of Goruck here at the Rogue Invitational. Here comes Chandler Smith looking to lock up 2nd place, and Chandler Smith is in, and we'll have to wait on the official times, but it's Jason Hopper who did it the fastest, making his move on that 2nd set of rope climbs and able to hang on to that lead on that wheelbarrow. And now Will Morad and Sam Quant. Sam Quant in the white, Morad in the black. They are on to their final set of 10 up and over the log, pardon me. And then it's Heinrich Hämäläinen in that red shirt still working on that set of 5 rope climbs. He was your leader after the sandbag portion of this event.
Now he got to the sandbag portion because he was so fast on the first set of 5 climbs, but these rope climbs, as we said before, is that it can't be overstated how much a 30-pound pack adds to the difficulty of a rope climb. It's no longer, oh, have a good foot grab and I just stand my way up the rope. You are actively pulling yourself. These rope climbs are more fatiguing than even, I would say, a legless rope climb by itself without the pack.
That's Uldis Upniks just going through his rope climbs, as Will Morad is looking to lock up a 3rd place finish in this opening heat, and Morad is in. Morad did not need to push his wheelbarrow that far, but chose to get the job done anyway, and he will finish in 3rd place. And now Sam Quant sits in 4th.
I feel like this is just a really good visual of how fatiguing this event has done to these athletes, because you're like, okay, wheelbarrow, over under, some rope climbs and a hill climb, and we just see the devastation so far in heat number 1. And if I'm an athlete in heat 2, I have immediately changed my initial thoughts on how this event is going to unfold after watching these athletes go.
Sam Quant will take 4th place in the opening heat. 6 men remain. Only 2 are on the log right now, and it's Ben Smith on the top of your screen and Heinrich Happelainen, who at one time led this heat, and his pace has slowed significantly.
Just absolute fatigue. And even if you watch his arms on the log, Happelainen on the left, they're just resting there. They're not even supporting him as he goes under. We see Ben Smith where he can place his hands, manipulate his body over the log by doing so, and that just shows you how wasted his upper body is from the rope climbs.
Ben Smith is onto the wheelbarrow, and he is going to lock up 5th place in this opening heat. Smith is in, and the crowd salutes the 2015 fittest man on earth. And he goes right to the water bottle and has a well-deserved sit on top of that cooler.
And what you saw him shaking his hands out, how blown up his upper body is.
And here comes Heinrich Happelainen, who really struggled in the back half of this event. He's going to take 6th place. 4 men remain on the field, a 30-minute time cap. So plenty of time for all of these athletes to finish up. Uldis Upniks, Andre Uday, Alexander Caron, and Jason Smith are the 4 men still working, as there is Alexander Caron.
And this is one of those failure movements because of the pack. It's not just the pulling with the arms, but it's the endurance of the grip. And Sean, once the grip goes with this 30-pound pack, there's a little element of fear up there. It's different if you have no pack and you can just drop to the ground, but that's not really something you can do at all, if at all, safely with this additional weight. So there's just a lot of just sit there in hopes that it'll come back.
Alexander Caron making his 2nd appearance here at the Rogue Invitational. He was 8th last year in the virtual competition.
Now, obviously, Caron has a lot more intensity on these up and overs than other athletes, because when we say grip fatigue and failure, all that makes you do is sit there and rest. So you're actively recovering because you physically can't hold on to the rope. So clearly he has a lot of energy built up after not being able to do any of the climbs.
Alexander Caron is in, and he will take 7th place in this opening heat. 3 men left on the field: Jason Smith, Andre Uday, and Uldis Upniks. And there is Jason Smith, 37 years old. His first ever appearance at the Rogue Invitational, but has been competing in this sport for about 10 years now. And one of the top athletes out of South Africa. Andre Uday and Uldis Upniks are the 2 men on the log. And Upniks has about a 2 or 3 rep lead on Uday. Upniks in the white has to go under and over one final time, and then he can get to the wheelbarrow. And Andre Uday in the middle of your screen trying to catch up to him. Upniks on the wheelbarrow looking to lock up 8th place in the heat. And here comes Andre Uday, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to catch Upniks. Upniks is in. He will take 8th. And here comes Andre Uday, and that leaves Jason Smith as the last man on the competition floor, and he is just sitting on the edge of his crash pad as Uday comes across the finish line.
Yeah, since that last rope climb, he has yet to even get off the pad.
2 remaining for Jason Smith.
And here's where you start to see why the time cap is in there. It's not the fact that athletes needed that much time to finish, but I think it's a sneaky fact that it's going to make them do more work. Whereas if we had, say, a 15-minute time cap, which would have been plenty for an event like this with the caliber of athletes that you have, okay, well, I didn't do the last 5 rope climbs, and look at how difficult one climb will be. That's why we have a 30-minute time cap, because you must actively continue to compete throughout the event. So what this is doing is that it's forcing everyone to get the work done, whether you did it in 15 or you did it in 30, as opposed to say that you couldn't even get through the rope climbs and you decided, I'll just take the time cap. So what this does is it doesn't actually hurt those that finished the event, and it's forcing those that didn't to keep trying through this.
Jason Smith just failed a rope climb as Jason Hopper, the man who won this heat, looks on. And this is the difference that the pack makes, 30 pounds in that pack. It's not like Jason Smith doesn't know how to climb a rope.
No, but just think about it. Think about putting 30 pounds on your body and just walking around with that. Put a weight vest on. Think about it. We've all done Murph in some form or fashion. If you've worn a vest, for the men it's typically 20, for the women it's 14. And if you just walked around with that, it would get extremely fatiguing, and you start to feel the shoulders and it digging into your traps. Now think about just hold on to a pull-up bar for 15 seconds without weight. And think of the grip fatigue that goes into that. Now we throw a 30-pound pack on you. You carried a wheelbarrow. You went over and under. You've already done 5 of these. And what I think a lot of these athletes did is that, like I said before, most of them train with the vest, which is 30% lighter, and it's not on the back, which puts way more stress on the arms, is that they probably approach the first 5 rope climbs like they've always approached the first 5 rope climbs. Well, these are not your regular run-of-the-mill rope climb, even if you wore a vest. That 30-pound pack, if you went too hard by just a little bit on the first half of this event, there is absolutely no recovery left in this. And you can see his grip, that elbow bend. When you don't see the arm straight, that is a classic sign of grip fatigue, which you think would almost be the opposite way. But that's what it is. And I think a lot of these athletes in this first heat, we probably won't see the same mistake in the second one, went too hard, too soon, and there was not enough time on the sandbags to recover for the next set of 5.
The crowd really tried to get Jason Smith to the top of that rope climb, and he failed yet again. You saw Jason Hopper. He is the winner of this heat. Unofficially, his time was around 9 minutes and 9 seconds. So that's how much time is still remaining. The official time is being kept on the field right now. We will let you know when that 30-minute time cap hits. But 9 minutes, 9 seconds unofficially for Jason Hopper.
And that's where the time cap for this comes in, for the exact reasons that we were just talking about, is that it's making sure all the athletes get an appropriate dose of what this event is supposed to feel like. That you can't get away and maybe just skip. The hardest part, really, this is the event. These 10 rope climbs are the whole event. Everything else was smoke and mirrors. Like, oh, look, a cool adaptive dog sled. I can make a wheelbarrow. That sounds like fun. We built a hill. Oh, look at that. And you're like, oh, by the way, I'm showing you all these sleight of hand moves, and in the meantime, I have these 10 rope climbs that you just looked past.
Rich Froning and Chris Spiel are the 2 men responsible for programming these events. And the crowd is trying to get Jason Smith the energy that he needs to get to the top of that rope. He's got to do it 2 more times. Then he still has to get up and over that log 10 times and then push his wheelbarrow to the finish line.
It's just a terrible feeling. It honestly is, because this, for Jason, is not a fitness problem. It's he cannot hold on to that rope anymore. And he'll do whatever he can because he's a warrior out there and he's been in the game for a long time and he came here to compete, but he just can't do it. He could probably go out and run 20 miles in that pack right now, but he can no longer hold on to that rope. And once that happens, there is nothing, absolutely nothing you can do. The crowd can't help you. You can't shake it out. There's nothing else that he can do but just sit there. And, you know, to his credit, he's continuing to try, but he's done. He's not going to get another rope climb. A, there's not enough time, and his grip is completely gone.
30-minute time cap on this event. One man is left on the field. That is Jason Smith. And that is the horn. So they're going to call it an event as Jason Smith, the only man in the opening heat not to finish, but he gave it a valiant effort, and the crowd really tried to help him get to the top, and Jason Smith salutes him for that. But it was Jason Hopper who wins heat number 1 unofficially, a time of 9 minutes and 9 seconds.
And this is what we thought we would see when we first read this event on paper. You see the battle between Hopper and Chandler Smith. Is Hopper, now this is what I think, this is going to be very good and very dangerous for the rest of the field, because Hopper at the Mid-Atlantic Challenge put on a show. Did not see that at the games this year. I think Hopper rides that emotional wave just like we see in other athletes do. So event 1 or heat 1 win for Hopper might be good for setting him up for the rest of the weekend.
And Jason Hopper will see if his top time will stick with 1 heat remaining, and he is with Kiki Dixon.
Jason, you're the very first athlete to come across the finish line for the 2021 Invitational. What ways do the emotions change from the anticipation of getting things started to finally having your first crack at an event?
Such a release of just nervousness, adrenaline. The fans are awesome. It was awesome. It's good to get that first event out of the way.
This event has the Goruck. In what ways were you adjusting to your approach as you went through the different elements as a result of the Goruck?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be heavy. The first 5 rope climbs were going to be bait, and I knew it was going to be on the back end of the workout where it mattered the most. And so pacing the first half of it and then push the pace on the end.
How are those forearms feeling?
So lit up.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Jason Hopper with the win in heat number 1. 1 heat remains. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with the second heat of Goruck, the opening event here at the 2021 Rogue Invitational. Day 1 of the 2021 Rogue Invitational continues as heat number 2 for the men, and the opening event is set. Thanks for being with us today, everybody, from Dell Diamond Stadium in Round Rock, Texas. I am Sean Woodland with Chase Ingram. Event number 1 is brought to you by Goruck. Goruck believes our way of life in America depends on those who serve. And the more we support them, the stronger our foundation as a country will be. That's why Goruck donates 1% of annual top-line revenue to various nonprofit partners who support veterans and first responders. And Chase, as we thought, right in the middle of this event, that is the sticking point.
It should be rope climbs presented by Goruck for event number 1, and it all comes down to that. 10 total rope climbs at right about 16 feet that we saw was the major separator in this chipper. Yes, we have the wheelbarrow, we have the over-unders, you have that beautiful hill that Rogue made at the backside, but it's all coming down to how athletes navigate the first 5 and hang on for the last.
Jason Hopper has the time to beat at 9:09, unofficially 10 men in this second and final heat. And Cole Sager has done very well at the Rogue Invitational and has done extremely well at events like this.
If there's a ruck, if there's a vest, and it's a chipper-style obstacle course like this, Cole Sager not only does well, but he wins this. He won 2019 Goruck. He won Event 5 Battleground at the 2018 CrossFit Games. He is poised to do very well, but he has to unseat your 2020 Rogue Invitational champion and runner-up at the Games, Pat Vellner, who also fares pretty well in odd events such as this.
We are underway. It looks like Justin Medeiros may not have heard the starting beep. He is right in the middle of your screen, right next to Pat Vellner. 275 pounds on those wheelbarrows as they pull them down the field, and then it is 10 up and overs on the log into the 5 rope climbs, and just about every athlete getting to that log at the same time.
And really in the wheelbarrow, it's like, just don't fall over. Just don't fall over and become an Instagram highlight reel. On the up and overs, you're not going to beat everybody on the event here. Get to the ropes with enough energy and wind that you can move through the rope climbs fairly well. You see Cole Sager taking a little pause at the top. Gather himself. We're not going to jack up our heart rates. We're just going to get over this 10 times and then go to where the event really starts. And that's these 5 rope climbs in the middle.
30 pounds in those ruck packs as Justin Medeiros and Pat Vellner move to the rope at the same time. Cole Sager is there as well, and in lane 8 it's Alex Vigneault who's on the lead pace. But remember, in the last heat, the men who led at this point were not the men who crossed the finish line first.
And they led because they went out too fast. And here's where you look at an event a little bit differently as an athlete. You're not afraid of it. You're not afraid of how difficult it's going to be. You're afraid that what if I hopped up too soon, didn't know it, and then my grip goes and then it's over. We saw what happened to Jason Smith, Andre Uday, and Uldis Upenix in heat number 1. So that becomes the scary part of the event. Not necessarily the fatigue overall as far as the test is concerned. You got to manage your work here for these 5 rope climbs.
There is Cole Sager, who is making his 3rd appearance at the Rogue Invitational. He was 3rd in 2019, 11th in 2020, and has 1 event win here at this competition. Justin Medeiros in lane 5, though, is your leader right now in the heat as we have passed the 2-minute mark. The unofficial time to beat belongs to Jason Hopper at 9 minutes, 9 seconds. 1 rope climb remains on this initial set of 5 for Justin Medeiros, making his first ever appearance here at the Rogue Invitational, but he is the man who comes in with the momentum after winning the CrossFit Games in August.
And here's one thing that's interesting. We said it's a 16-foot rope. For most people, most games athletes, that's 2 pulls. That's if you can jump. Now with the dead stop, it becomes 4.
Pat Vellner has overtaken Medeiros for the lead, as Vellner will be the first man to Mater Hill. 3 sandbags that weigh 50 pounds. He's got to tote up that incline. Justin Medeiros is right behind him, and now the battle that many people wanted to see here is playing out early in event number 1.
And this is where you try to, you don't get a break, but there's really not a lot of intensity in the middle portion. Make sure we get down the hill safely. We pick up our ruck right away and we make our way up. You can't exactly outrace people on the hillside unless you're willing to sacrifice some of that work capacity, that VO2 lungs in the middle part once they get back to the rope.
Cole Sager on his first sandbag. Saxon Panchik in the orange shorts is fighting with him for 3rd place right now in this heat, as Pat Vellner is right next to Saxon Panchik. Vellner drops his second of 3 bags, and Vellner's starting to open up a little bit of a lead now on Justin Medeiros, making his 2nd trip up Mater Hill.
Keep your eye on Cole Sager just a little bit on the outside. You said he's sitting in 3rd. What Cole does in events like this is he's a hard closer. So you won't see Cole Sager come out hot, try to hang on. Cole chases people down. He's the comeback kid for a reason. We've seen that at the finals at the regional level. We've seen the overall weekends at the CrossFit Games, and we will see it again in an event like this with the ruck.
Pat Vellner making his final trip back down, and now he will move with some urgency to the 2nd set of 5 rope climbs. The defending Rogue Invitational champion out of CrossFit Nanaimo in British Columbia.
Now, Pat Vellner has, as far as an athletic background to lean on, is that gymnastics background. Pat Vellner has a lot of upper body endurance, which is what you need here. It's not about strength, it's about technique. But if you don't have the endurance and the grip strength to back it up, you're not going to fare well here on the rope climbs.
Vellner is through 1. Justin Medeiros has now just gotten to the rope, and here comes Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson on the left of your screen doing what he does and just lurking in one of those top 3 positions. 41 total scored repetitions in this event. Pat Vellner is through 24 of them. Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson in lane number 4 is in 3rd place. Justin Medeiros in lane 5 is in 2nd, and now Saxon Panchik and Cole Sager are working on their 2nd sets of 5 rope climbs, and Jeff Adler is making his way back to the Zeus ring.
Now for this one, you can't be sloppy with your foot grab. You can get away with that in a regular rope climb. Oh, my feet slipped. I'll just grip on a little bit harder and I'll get my feet back. With this 30-pound ruck, it taxes you in ways that you've never trained for unless you have one of the, like, who would think of just throwing a 30 pack on and let's just do 10 rope climbs for time in my training today? You don't do that. Most of these athletes opt for the harder version in their training, which is usually legless. Well, the leg grab is a skill that I think a lot of people may underappreciate, and that is evident when you look at these weighted rope climbs.
There's Cole Sager working his way up the rope. He's trying to keep pace with Pat Vellner and Justin Medeiros. Vellner about a rep ahead of Medeiros on these rope climbs. Vellner is in lane 6. Medeiros is in lane 5. There's Medeiros with no shirt and the pink shorts. He was the last man to get back to the rope. He's a rising star out of South America.
So Medeiros on the right. Last time he went up there, he tried to do 4 climbs, but he came a couple inches short, so he had to do a complete extra grab and pull.
And Pat Vellner is the first man done with his 5 rope climbs, and he will get to work on his final set of 10. Up and over that log. Medeiros is taking a sizable break here, and he has 1 rope climb remaining. The Pat Vellner looking to track down Jason Hopper's top time, unofficially of 9 minutes, 9 seconds, and rack up an early event win here and start off his title defense with 100 points in his pocket.
And it's not a time that he knows. The clocks weren't working on the field in Heat 1, so Pat has no idea what the time to beat is.
Here comes Justin Medeiros in second place, but right behind him is Cole Sager. And now Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson on the left side of your screen as we have a 3-way battle for second place. Pat Vellner all by himself as he is back to the wheelbarrow and looking to lock up an event win here.
Now, Vellner may get the win, but Sager at the top right is watching Medeiros and BKG.
Here comes Pat Vellner, and your defending Rogue Invitational champion starts off with 100 points and an event win. 8:04.17 seconds for Vellner. And now the battle for second place between Sager, Medeiros, and Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson. Gudmundsson and Medeiros at the wheelbarrow at the same time. Gudmundsson trying to gain ground on Medeiros, and it looks like he's going to run out of real estate. Medeiros' wheelbarrow is down. He is in second. Gudmundsson will take third, and here comes Cole Sager in fourth. 5-point difference between each spot in the standings here. So 100 points for Vellner, 95 for Medeiros. As those two are neck and neck, just separated by 5 points after one event.
And Sager trying to close hard at the end like we thought he might be able to, but just a little too late. Saw him on the ropes just a few seconds behind them and just couldn't close on the over-unders. What a race for second through fourth.
That's Medeiros on the right of your screen. Lazar Jukic is on the left. Still plenty of time to go here in this event as Saxon Panchik is on the wheelbarrow, and Saxon Panchik will be the 5th man in this heat across the finish line. Lazar Jukic and Medeiros now fighting for 6th. Jukic is swerving all over his lane. Medeiros may have caught up to him, and Medeiros did not drop the wheelbarrow.
Yes.
May have cost him as Jukic gets in about a second and a half ahead of the youngster from Brazil.
And that's tough. And if this is such a deep field here at the Rogue Invitational, is that towards the end of the weekend you start seeing where those little places start to add up. You can't have that if you're trying to get in the top 3.
Here comes Travis Mayer. He is in. And that leaves a pair of Canadians, Jeff Adler and Alex Vigneault, left out on the field. Vigneault is still on his rope climbs. He has one remaining, and that man, Jeff Adler, needs to finish up these 10 reps and then get back to the wheelbarrow.
And for Vigneault's a lot like Jason Smith. They're one of the bigger athletes in the field, and when you start adding weight on top of the body weight that you're already carrying, is that it does have an impact if you don't have the stamina in your grip to sustain that.
As he makes his way into the
Here comes Jeff Adler. His first appearance here at the Rogue Invitational, and he is across the finish line, which leaves Alex Vigneault as the only man left. Vigneault is the biggest athlete in this heat at 208 pounds as Vellner, Mayer, and Cole Sager recap their events.
Now operating at 240 with a 30-pound ruck pack. And we talked earlier about the pack having a massive impact on being able to lean back. That lean back or that lay back is what usually allows an athlete not to overuse their arms because they can extend them and then just tuck the knees. When you don't have the ability to do that, it forces your arms to be used much more than you really do in your normal everyday training. And you can either adapt to that or it can catch you by surprise. And we've seen that happen a few times with some athletes here today.
Guy Medeiros, Cole Sager, and now Justin Medeiros have worked their way back down the field to help Alex Vigneault get across the finish line. And Cole Sager, as he often does in competitions like this, was the first man there. And he's trying to pump up the crowd here at Dell Diamond to get Alex Vigneault across the finish line. He has plenty of time to do it. 30-minute time cap here. And now final up and over for Vigneault. And he gets back to the wheelbarrow. Alex Vigneault, many people forget, back in 2016 when Matt Fraser started his run at the CrossFit Games, Vigneault was the only other man that year to sit atop the overall leaderboard. He was on top after 2 events, and it was all Matt Fraser after that. As Alex Vigneault is in, and that will do it for event number 1. But it's Pat Vellner who takes the victory, locks up 100 points as he looks to defend his Rogue Invitational title here at Dell Diamond.
What I love from Vellner is just how consistent he was from start to finish. He never really went out too fast on the first climbs, never slowed down on the second, and all by himself at the end of the event. This is the start Vellner needs if he wants to regain or keep that title of Rogue Invitational champion.
And another solid performance for that man. Cole Sager. Guy Medeiros is able to make some ground up there late in the event. But it is Pat Vellner who wins the heat, takes the event. He is with Kiki Dixon.
Pat, congratulations on this event win. You're the defending champion coming into the Rogue Invitational. How hungry are you for that title this year?
I mean, I'd love to grab it. I think right now it's sort of the tale of 2 champions right now, right? So I think a lot of people have painted the weekend as seeing how Justin and I stack up, and it's going to be a fun show all weekend. We just kind of showed it. So I think we're for sure keeping an eye on each other, and it's going to be exciting all week long.
We look forward to keeping an eye on the action as well. With the Goruck, it seemed to impact the rope climbs the most. Where did you feel it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think everybody, as we finished, you could hear everybody screaming about the last 2 reps on the rope climb, how it really all piled up, and those last 2 reps could take anywhere from a minute to 3 or 4 minutes, depending on how well you strategize the workout. So it was really won and lost in the rope climbs, and it kind of showed who had that upper body endurance today.
You had it today. Congratulations. Thanks, Pat.
It's my pleasure. I hope it lasts into tonight.
Pat Vellner, 8:04.17 seconds, wins. Goruck, locks up 100 points and starts his title defense off extremely well.
Say 100 points and a good bicep pump. two things I'm all about.
Little bicep pump never hurt anybody. The men are done. Stick around, everybody. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, the women will be up next as they take on event number 1, Goruck, here at the 2021 Rogue Invitational.